to be able to welcome my homeboys from right there in, not Sunset City this time, in the town, from the town that never sleep, you know, right from the town that never sleep. I say 3 of them is 4 of them, I forget it myself. You can see when you get to that stage in your maturity, these things happen, you know. And we have with us 4 very eminent gentlemen, and I label them as cultural ambassadors. Now, that doesn't mean that they have been so mandated by the state, that they have this special passport that we know has been distributed to some of our artists, especially those in the soca arena. But these men are men, as I said in the flyer that I put out there, you know, from Trinidad to New York, to, I said Indianapolis, but I understand that Mr. Dabreo is based in Pennsylvania now, to Pennsylvania and back down to Florida. And these are men that have been flying the Grenada flag proudly out there in various, you know, various areas of music, you know. One is a bass guitarist. We have 2 who are rhythm and lead guitarists. One is also a sound engineer. And, you know, and I mean, them guys are so talented. And then we have another who is a musician, a steel band player, a guitar player, a choir man, you know, a footballer. So, good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to you all. Good afternoon, Mr. Oslyn Pompie, Mr. Anthony Dabreo, Mr. Burgess McPhie, and Rasbagger himself, Allan Mitchell. And you'll be getting the stories. So one by one, if you just introduce yourself and just tell our listening audience a little bit about, you know, about yourself. And we start with the man right to my top left, who is Mr. Oslyn Pompie, man who is closest to me, because all the others, they way across the ocean, you know. So, yeah.
Good afternoon, brother. Good afternoon, Ray. Good afternoon, this gentleman. Yeah, at the sound system. Good afternoon to all listeners all over the world. And I must point out, good afternoon to Gorf, because that's where it all started.
Roger.
Harmonies with Brass, St. John's Christian Secondary School. Whatever I earn, I always give them praise, because that is what made me who I am. Yes, I'm born in Gorf, St. John's Happy School, Shaper. I was also an athlete. I was captain of Jewel House in Shaper. Did well. I still have medals, some in Paul, which I represented SPCS with pride. And migrated there after secondary school. I was imported to Trinidad, practiced my brothers and sisters who won the school. And the music from Harmonies to Trinidad and continued, you know, various bands. I don't know if you want me to get into that as yet.
Yeah, we'll get into the various bands in a while. Yeah.
So that's right. That's
that's good for now. We just wanted to know the beginnings, and we'll get a little bit more in depth into them in a while. Mr. Burgess McPhie, listen, someone has the live playing in the background. You will have to take the audio off because we're getting a feedback. So whichever one has the audio of the program on in the background, you will have to take the audio off because we're getting that feedback live here. Okay? So if anyone is playing the program of the feed on Facebook, then I would like you, because I'm hearing it, and I don't think it's from me this week. Last week it was from me. I don't think it's from me because I do not have the feed playing. I do not have Facebook up presently. So if anyone is playing the feed in the background, I need you to take the audio off, please, because it's coming back. We're getting that feedback. I'm still hearing it. Yeah? You're still hearing it. So check it out, and whichever one has it, cut the audio. All right? So, moving on. Mr. Dabreo, welcome once again to the comfort zone. You've been here before in a different capacity, but for those who missed first time around, let people know who is Anthony Dabrian and where you're coming from.
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen, and good afternoon to the audience as well. I had my beginnings in the suburb of Guelph, Douglaston, which blends into Guelph, and I remember vividly all the cultural aspects of Guelph and Grenada growing up as a kid in that area. When I think about music, I thought about for many years having this hunger, this desire to be part of the music scene. And there's so many people influence my evolution when it comes to music, including many of the folks who are on the panel today. They have played a crucial role in my development in the music arena. Although I chose a different career path, I think music's still in my blood. And when it comes to my happiness, music is tied directly to my happiness as well. I remember just in Douglaston, there was a gentleman called Mr. Mop, and he had what we used to call back then a box guitar. And I was just fascinated as a child by this guitar. And I remember just looking at guitars in the glass cases, they used to call them back there many years ago. And eventually I happened upon Mr. Raymond Simon, who taught me some fundamentals. And I was able to join one of the local bands, Elite Vibrations, with Mr. Straker and so many other people, Derek Caliste, Lennox Trumney, all of those folks. And that is part of my journey, and a crucial part of my journey. And I was able to have some pretty interesting experiences over the years, which we can get to into later, but that's me in a nutshell. Thank you for the opportunity.
In a nutshell, and thank you for gracing the platform of GEM FM, and in particular, the Comfort Zone program once again. So, to my left, to bottom left, Mr. McPhie, a man that I grew up with in the back street in the Vasco. Good afternoon and welcome to the Comfort Zone.
Well, guys, greetings and blessings, guidance.
Yeah, right.
I'm so happy to be with you guys because, this panel is so interesting to me. Growing up on Street, a music called Vasco Crescendos, playing the motorgun, and man, I tell you, I'm doing that, and it was such a important and integral part in my life that caused me to evolve into my musical career today. We used to go and play under the Christmas tree during the Eric Gary time, and we used to go and play again in the next band they call it Sancho, and man, we used to have pleasure with guys and them. Pablo, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And from there, I moved on to All Stars, and I took my pan career. Then I moved on to Illis Vibration, Harmonies first, and then Illis Vibration. It used to be a pleasure for me watching those guys like Ramdam and them practicing all day, because what I've learned over the years, anything and anybody that comes from war, once we get involved in something, we practice, we put effort into it. I used to sit down and watch Bagga and them practicing with polyphonics right by Cell Small on the ground there. And as soon as they put on an instrument, I go and start joking. At first, they chase me because the music was just for life. And I love music to the fullest. Tony, I know you left me out Illis Vibration when you practiced in Douglaston. That was the good days of Illis Vibration, man. And Callis, may he rest in peace. And that's Bayo's brother. And he was a real musical, accolade. Mm-hmm. And all the soldiers that made it there. Honestly, Pablo, I could never forget them days and I grew up in the back street, because that was the love. Once you come out and go, when you grow up and go out, it's everything there. And guidance and blessings to be here, just to be here with you guys and seeing Bagga. Bagga, We used to be talking all the time and everything, hunting, but it's good to see your face live, man. Because, you know, we're living in that pandemic time. And, you know, I feel so good to see you guys right now. You know, Bagga, it's a pleasure seeing you, man. I remember the days of the days of Centros. We used to have the Calypso competition and everything. And then I migrated to America, came out here. I was able to win the competition, the Calypso competition, against guys like Val and Hercules and all those guys in them. And my musical career is still there, doing my best. I'm still producing music to the best of my ability. And anytime I do something, I try to do it to the best of my ability and make you guys proud. But Ramdam, you know, we're always in touch.
Yes,
you know, Tony, you recently got in touch again, and it's a pleasure, man. And one thing I'm looking forward to is that's one of my dreams is to bring back Illy's Vibration. I was telling Pablo that the other day, to read the rebirth of Illy's Vibration. And eventually going to happen. I promise you. Guys, love.
All right. Talking about the future.
Future, man, the future.
Moving on. Finally. Bagga. Allan Mitchell, Bagga Trak, as it is. That's Bagga.
Yo.
Tell the people who is Bagga.
Everybody know Bagga there, man. There's Bagga Trak now. Everybody know him as Bagga. Wow, St. John's. You know I'm talking about? Connors Walk, Market Square, the Lance, the whole thing, up and down the place. Jamming with, starting from polyphonics, go all the way back. Even with a little bit harmony brass and Illy's Vibrations, that's the guava thing. But polyphonics was the runnings. Polyphonics was the one that clashed. Polyphonics was a 4-man group, and we used to clash with brass band. You know what I'm talking about? You know them brass band. We had to call names and them things. With about 40 man in the band, and them 4 little man, Luther Duncan, Godfrey Boy, Bagga, and what his name? Macho. The 4 of us. That was polyphonics. So that was the original. After that is Dread of the Control. And you know what I'm saying? Up to where am I right now? And hey, it's Bagga Trak. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in between know what? There's a lot of names to call from bow to stand, but you know it goes. We're doing it the same way. Alright?
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we'll get a little bit more into the journeys as we get into the conversation. But as I mentioned earlier in the first segment of the program, I did make reference to the fact that this is Black History Month. What is you guys' perspective, and one at a time, you tell me, what's your perspective on the whole concept of Black History Month? Do you consider it important? Because just, you know, or is it a waste of time? Because some people say, well, how come it's only black people have a month? Why do not, you know, you don't find the Caucasian people have a month or Indian people have a month? And why it had to be we that, you know, one person had on Facebook recently that those who celebrate Black History Month, they're foolish. What's your take on the whole concept of Black History Month? Going in the same order.
Well, I think it's very important because some of the things that were discovered, some of the things that were invented, a lot of the people think is why people did it. And it highlights the contribution of a lot of black people who normally would be unknown. You know, some of you just hear about them, but not knowing that they had a hand in inventing a lot of things. And I had a whole list from the NJAC, the National Joint Action Committee here, of all the things. And Chuck does have a song. I hope some of us will listen to it.
Yeah, Black man invented that.
Yes, you know, he had that song. But you couldn't put all in the song. So the Black History Month encompasses a lot of other black people. Bring them to the forefront, you know. And who don't like it, they still read it and then complain after.
Okay. Before I move on to Tony, as Oslyn mentioned that, as we call him, and Burgess Quako referenced the name a while ago, Ramdam. Probably along the way you might tell us how this Ramdam came into being. Anyway, speaking about those inventions, you know, we make use of a lot of those stuff, you know, today. But because of the conditioning that we've had, that our people have not contributed anything of significance to human civilization, and because of the way the history, the narrative have been shared, we are not aware that the air conditioning unit was invented by a black man by the name of Frederick M. Jones back in 1949. The almanac that everyone takes for granted, the calendar, the auto cut-off switch, it's used in so many different gadgets. You know, the washing machine, for example, you know, and that was by Granville T. Woods. The almanac was Benjamin Banneker, right? And you have the baby buggy, you're pushing your children around in strollers. The black man invented that. The blood plasma bag, yeah? The clothes dryer, you know, egg beater, electric lamp bulb. We know that somebody else is credited for that, but I mean, the fire escape ladder. Could you imagine all of these big high-rise buildings not having a fire escape ladder? You know, the folding chair, gas mask, you know, the guitar. We're speaking with musicians. The guitar was invented by Robert F. Fleming Jr., you know. You brush your hair, the hair brush was by a black man. You know, the ice
Pablo,
yes, I mean,
just to come in here.
Before you come in, and that is in the latter dispensation, because if you go back in time, you would find that the things that have been credited to the Greek, like mathematics and geometry and so, actually, you find that Pythagoras and these people went to Nubia, went to Africa to be taught these things. And because they are the people who's telling the story, they claim it. And the vast majority of our people are convinced that these are the people. So all of these things we gave to civilization. Okay? Quako, and that's your turn.
Yeah, you know,
your perspective of Black History Month. Yeah, come on, talk to us.
I just wanted to chip in there since you're talking about the invention. Since you're talking about inventions, I just recently get to know that the spark plugs was made by a black man. And it was taken over by the white man, and we never knew about it. Only recently get to know it was a black man that made it.
Yeah, Edmund Berger. Edmund Berger is the man that made it.
Right. That's the man. That's the man.
Yeah.
And it was hidden. It was hidden from our race.
Yeah.
And only recently we get to know about it.
Yeah. You know, the stethoscope. You know, could you imagine the doctor without his stethoscope? Come on, you know.
Even right now, in America here, the White House was built by slaves.
By slaves, okay. Yeah,
almost everything in America built by slaves.
So
that's honest truth.
So you think that
somewhere the White House did everything.
So you think that Black
they just take it over and just dump us out.
So you think that Black History Month is important and critical to maintaining our history and to us telling our own story and to sensitizing our people? Yeah?
No more than ever, we need to do it, more than ever. No more than ever. It is so important, it's so prevalent. It is very, very important that, you know, this thing be taught to our younger generation, make them know we were the creators. You know, we were the ones that really did it. But we never got the credit for it. No more than it has to be documented.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to tell our own story. Huh? Brother Tony.
Yes, sir. So I tend to think it's extremely important these days, more than ever. And sometimes people believe that Black history is for other folks. As a matter of fact, I find that there's a lot of folks here in the United States, and whether we look at it from a Pan-African perspective, does not know the collective history of Black people around the world. So it becomes increasingly important that not only do you learn about Black American history, but you have to learn about the Pan-African history. You have to learn that history for us did not begin at slavery. Think about, if you think about pre-slavery and the magnificence of that history that existed prehistory. You talk about the Nubians. You talk about then you go to North Africa on the Giza Plateau, where you have some of the most significant buildings in the world has ever seen. There are folks who will tell you that did not come from sub-Saharan Africa, and there's a lot of evidence that it did. And so I think it's extremely important, and we have to continue to teach it. And by the way, for those who say, I need a month for myself, then you may end up with 13 months because there's already 12. All right. So you have to teach history in context. And there are other groups, quite frankly, are rich in history. The difference in America, though, is that whereas people who came to America brought their history with them, in America today, a lot of Black folks were stripped of that history. They have no knowledge of it. So history in the general sense for Black folks in America is a recent phenomenon. If you look at, because everything has been distorted, names have been changed, you don't know where your ancestry lies, whereas the person who came from Germany or the person who came from Vietnam could trace that ancestry. Black folks in America can't do that. And around the world, in many cases, can't do that. So I think there needs to be an understanding and a reckoning when it comes to that. Mr. Pablo, back.
Yeah, man. Bagga Trak.
Yeah.
Black History Month. What's this?
I just have one thing to say, my brother.
Yes, sir.
We don't even have a Black History Month. We have to have a Black history all the time because Black people are the first people on earth, father of all creation, mother of all creation. So when them coming with that, it's just brainwashing bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's just we was there from original until them to recognize that, and all the other races came from us. Then, hey, every day is Black History Day for me.
True.
You see, everything, every invention, you all call all, you know what I'm saying? We know that we invented everything, and them patent it, and them have the say. You see? So we don't matter struggle about that. All the Black Lives Matter and all that things, white people are control them things there. See? So we just have to know, hey, we first, we are the original gods on earth, and we are the creation. See? Black people, the cradle of creation comes from Black people. I say, so when them recognize, it's not us to recognize, well, I could say that because a lot of people don't even recognize, Black people don't even recognize that is the truth.
True.
So when we get that power to recognize that in ourselves, then everybody will recognize it. In the meantime, and between time, originality comes from the cradle, Africa. See? That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Well,
original.
And that's the thing. The point has been made throughout here. That many of our people have not been sensitized to that. And because of that, you have a very strong inferiority complex among many of our people because they believe that we have not contributed anything of essence to human civilization. And we more or less hate ourselves, and we endeavor in every way, fashion, and form to emulate the others, and we put ourselves down. I mean, when you're living in a community and someone who's been a teacher for many years could tell you that Black people are no good, Black people are the worst people, and his skin complexion is darker than mine. You know, it tells you about the mindset. It tells you about the kind of conditioning that our people have been put through. So they would not even avail themselves of the opportunity to be exposed to that kind of information that we've just shared here in terms of the inventions and who's giving the world what, you know? So I believe that focal point of, okay, for a month you have that sensitization period, but it's critical that we make it an everyday thing, because on the other hand, many people on a day-to-day basis, that is not a thing for them. But I just thought I'd bring that into the conversation. So let's get back to the journey and accomplishments of our cultural ambassadors. So, Mr. Pompie,
Yeah.
you're based in Trinidad. You said that you started here, you speak about harmonies, you speak about Shaper School, but I know that outside of harmonies and being in Shaper School, you had another talent that was critical and that was prominent and that you were known for throughout the length and breadth of Grenada. Tell us about that.
You're talking about my athleticism.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Well, it was something that I think it just happened. Dakar had something to do with it. We used to just run around, go off on the lands, make a run, go down the street and come back up. And that always encouraged me, I had no training. At one time, I didn't have proper meals, I just ran, and it worked out in a way. My first race was running a bag, obstacle race, drink
Right.
and I came second. And from there, when I entered Shaper School, Alistair Antoine, Unks, he stole my talent.
Dr. Antoine.
Dr. Antoine, yes. He stole my talent, and we used to just go and do some running. My training used to be 3 miles in the morning, go off to Grenadian and back, and sometimes go off to Victoria and back in the evening. That was my training. And some days we'll go up to school, do some speed work, do some rabbit hops. Yeah, various little things that he did with me. And the rest was history, I still have a couple of medals remaining. I used to go in Intercol, I get 7 medals. I did 3,000, I did 1,500, I did 800, I did high jump, I did the medley race.
Okay.
So, and as I finished, I'm not giving a medal, I just used to give them away.
And you also used to do the marathon at one time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Well, one of the things with that, passing ball used to think along in the race.
Right.
Because the next second person used to be so far behind. But I didn't do it for long because of after my father died, the energy levels dropped because nutrition and stuff became a problem for me, So I had a rough patch there, but it still didn't make me do anything stupid, like going to smoke or go and rob people, I just wanted to stay in school and do my best. And that's what I did. And the band came in, and I would go and play out with the band. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning, I go on a race and do well. Get off the bus 4:30 in the morning and go and start the race 5:30, and do well still. Yeah, I didn't know how I did it, but this is what it was.
You know what? I'll tell you what it was,
Bad night.
It was the energy of war. It was the energy of war. And Coach Naka, I'm sure he's listening now. There's that book by Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Naka Joseph.
Yes.
And it's called The Energy of War. And it features all of these guys who participated in sports from then till now, from that time to Kirani James.
Right.
And it speaks of that energy, the energy of war.
I always say that before Kirani James, it was Dolbam.
Yeah,
true.
Dolbam Ramdam. Yeah. I say after Dolbam was Ramdam.
After Dolbam was Ramdam.
That's my little joke,
Yeah. And that's the thing about it. I heard what's his name from St. George's there. We call him Goatee. I heard Goatee in an interview sometime late last year, I believe. And he spoke about
Conrad Francis?
No, Goatee Robinson.
Okay.
And he spoke about Donald Pierre as one of the best athletes that he's ever known. Because he used to be representing Grenada at the highest level and running a variety of distances and doing so well. I mean, he beat the 400-meter world record holder at one point in time in Trinidad and that kind of thing. So we've always had it in us, you know. So those of you who's listening out there and you haven't gotten your copy of The Energy of Guava as yet, go there and get it. It's on Amazon. You can get it. And those of you, I mean, everybody know Coach. If you don't know Fitzgerald Joseph, you know Coach Naka. Yeah, so just touch base with Coach Naka and get The Energy of God. So, moving on, The Energy of God. Quako, you also were an athlete, you were a footballer, tell us about that journey. Yeah? Talking a bit about the music already. Tell us about that element of things.
The element of it was a great journey for me because I started writing on the lands by the bay. That's where guys gain their strength, playing soccer in the sand. Like Hugh Commission, Michael Woods Wilson, Soup, Carly Redhead, Felaman, and Diane Marquez, all them guys and them. On a Sunday, we used to all get together. That's why we always had the cream of the crop, and a lot of us made it to the national team. You know what I mean? Like CJ, myself, me and CJ was like this. We trained together. You know, we've been together. Most of us were on the national youth team together with Sal Richards and gang that came up afterwards behind us, and quite a few other guys that came up behind us. And
yeah, it seemed like Burgess is having some
for the guys
technical challenges.
I made my contribution in Jones Sports under 19 and the national team.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. So, and Tony, when you go ahead, Burgess.
I was fortunate to be able to James by doing a song for him called 400 Meters, which I made it to the March Gray in 2012 with, and Donald Pierre. You know, these are guys that they just was, you know, one of our best. It's just that they didn't get the extra step to compete in England and go on, you know, to make it further. But Kirani James lifted us, and you know, this is where our first goal came from, and it was a blessing to see that happen for us, you know, especially he coming from Grove, his mother, sing with me in Spice Line Youth Quick. May she rest in peace. He just recently passed away. His father, you know, well, we call him Bamba, but he's James. You know what I mean? you know, in Grove is a nickname. Everybody has a nickname. So
everybody got a nickname. He's Granny Marshall.
Granny Marshall. Yeah, I mean, just because everybody has a nickname. And if you don't have one, it's because you know they used to keep. When it comes to this, man, you know, we have to be proud. We honestly have to be proud because our contribution coming from St. John's, we was very big in our contribution. Diane Marquez was Mr. West Indies. He was one of the best soccer players in the West Indies. And you know, you're talking about Felaman, was he a national player for years? He was the captain of the Grenada team, and you know, we made a mark. We made a mark musically, sports-wise, and it was a pleasure for me to make my contribution. Knowing my where I come from, the step to step getting to that point. And I'm so happy that God gave me the opportunity to do that. And I will always say, Grenadian from the heart. Go off to the bone.
Keep it flowing. Tony, was you a sportsman too?
Yeah, man. I grew up playing, you know, football. You know, when what I'd say on the 16 football and maybe junior football, really. After I got to that point, man, I discovered a thing called the guitar. You know, and I spent most of my time just playing. I would go up to Mr. Simmons on the weekend and thing. And I'd spend hours practicing, man. And I remember the days when I wasn't there, I would get together with even Quako was there as well. There were times when Tope, Romney, Lennox Romney, and my man Beast was the bass man for me. And we used to get together in the liquor loft and play for hours, man. We'd get there like 10 o'clock in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock at night, we're still there, still playing, you know? And that's where most of my time went after I got out my youth soccer and that sort of thing, youth football and thing. I used to run in high school, but there was a guy from Victoria, Blanco Simon. He's always beat me, so I will always be second. So I never came first when he was around. Forget that. He was quick. And but that was my and before long, you know what? It's 18 years old, and you know, my mom says it's time. And time for what? It's time to get your act together and go and do something, you know. So I left and joined her in the United States, and then my guitar playing kind of fell to the wayside because I pursued other things. But in the last 10 years or so, I've been able to play quite a bit, and I've learned quite a bit as well. So that's kind of my journey with Beast. I remember my first gig was with Sugar Boy's son. There was Elite Vibration had a session at the Anakin School, and we got as a junior band to play there. And my first real gig was, I remember being in the cinema, Casaman Cinema in Guelph, and Derek Kelly's came and got me. At that time I had a few extra dollars, so I was in balcony, not pit anymore. He came up to balcony, got me, said you need to play because one of the guitar players couldn't play that night. We went to Butch Grove, and that was my first real gig I had playing the guitar, man. It was a pleasure. I'll never forget that day, and he gave me that opportunity to play, so I'll never forget that.
Okay. Bagga.
Yeah.
You weren't an athlete, were you? Music was it.
You didn't hear the man say inter-college sports. Hey, but hey, me get a silver medal for running the 100 yards, you know. He had a little red boy, I forget his name, a little red man from Victoria. Nobody can beat him. But me get a silver medal, and then me get a high jump, what do you call it? I think it's for high jump or long jump, I get a bronze, and in the relay, we get a bronze. So I get 3 medals. But you know, I used to play the little soccer, man. You know that was thing. In the pasture, in wherever, we had a little school thing. And then when basketball come in, you know, we used to spend time on the court. Other than that, me a swimmer, diver, do that. I never taken part in them competition to say. But you know, when you come from Guelph, you have to run and walk. You have to run and walk. And if you're in the park, if you're in the park in the evening, you consider a something, you know what I'm saying? You have to go and kick ball or do something, cricket, you know, compo, ghost po, you know what I'm saying? Tennis ball, whatever cricket it is, you know what I'm saying? Duck, when man tries to fast ball, you have to duck and run.
When you're at it, everyone else has given a little background of the music, you know, they being involved. Where did the guitar come into it? Or when did the guitar come into it? Yeah.
Watch. Yeah. I will show you like a thing. All right. Clara Francis.
Claude Francis.
Whatever you want to know, him father.
Clara Francis' father, Claude Francis. Right.
Yes, I used to, you know, me and Clara was good friends. They used to say that my mother, you know, she was the choir, whatever, before she passed.
Okay.
Say that she had a band and thing with her sister and them kind of thing. So a lot of instruments, I play a lot of instruments and I never really learned none. I just pick it up and start to play. So one time now, because they see the little interest going over by Claude Francis playing little juke note on the piano, they decided to send me by Mr. Critchlow. Everybody know Mr. Critchlow. I used to teach music right in the corner to walk by the Anki school. My brother and them Andy and Chris, we used to go there, but we didn't understand nothing. The man started to show us some little thing like, look at the 5 notes there, so and what, F, B, C, E, and E, G, D, F, you know what I'm saying? Just watch your fingers. But we still didn't understand it, man, but we used to go and take it on, and then Mr. Father, Mr. Campbell, Clarence Campbell, God bless his soul, him say, yo, I have a guitar, because I know that my mother used to play guitar and them thing. And him say, all right, me will buy, you want a little guitar? And him buy me my first acoustic guitar. And from that, you know, sit down home and you just learn to play a little thing, I go over by OC and we sit down and we jam and I learn little thing and I look in some book and thing and I learn little thing and I start to play from there, realizing that, okay, well, it came kind of natural to me, so I never really wanted to learn to say notes and them kind of runnings there. I could read chords, but just naturally. So that was the first little guitar I had from Mr. Clarence Campbell. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it starts from there, so. And every other thing just came natural. When we reached in polyphonic, playing drum and all them things, keyboard, bass and things, me just pick up them instrument and start to play, my brother. Me didn't have to learn them. I had to learn after I pick up and play. And then, you know, that's where the work started to learn to play. You know what I mean? But tell a story, the craziest thing, right? You see pan music, Mr. Burgess? You see pan? Boy, that one day, me can understand how to understand because everything go, F sharp, G, pan go, F, D, C, B flat. Wait, I used to go Florida, pan me hard, and watch all, I can't play it at all. I end up playing a little guitar pan, you know what I'm saying? You know the rhythm pan? Who knows that thing because I say, well, I could go from so to so. But when I say, notes, my brother, up to now, that one fumbling my mind, bro. You don't know what to say about the pan, but we love it to death, you know what I'm saying? Because that's our original black man story. Pan, nobody can take that from us. I don't care what else they want to take, they can't take that one from us. You see, they have all the little hand pan now and think that everybody has deal with it. Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think they get the idea? They always try to thief with things, you know, so we are watching. But and that is how me start with the music from the little guitar and then me just progress into whatever. Yeah, that was my original story. The guitar came from Mr. Campbell. He just say, look man, I know your mother see you're interested in that, you want to go, and I do, and I go. And even polyphonic used to practice right inside of his veranda in Corners Walk right there. Polyphonic band, him give us that permission to practice there. And that's how I learned to really play drums because every day, just to make noise in the Yankee school, for me to disturb Mr. Peters and them, we used to just beat up that drum there.
I remember this.
You know what I'm saying? We just to make noise just sometimes, and then I used to listen to a lot of rock and roll them time there, because if you're a guitarist, you have to listen to rock and roll. Yeah. You have to listen to George Benson, jazz, and them kind of running there. Guitarist thing, you know what I'm saying? But when you come to the rock and roll, that's guitarist thing. So to play drum in rock and roll is to make noise, and then you learn to play it afterwards, but you learn to make noise first. And that was it, man, just to disturb Mr. Peters over there for them to complain. That's how we go over, brother. That's how. That's the little history there, so, you know what I'm saying?
All right. So,
Pablo, if I could just give you a little story, since Bagga is talking about that.
No problem.
One of my struggles in the musical business when I started with the motor gun with Vasco Crescendos. You know, we never had a band house where we could practice. We used to go on every step we could find. And we used to practice until late. And in the purpose, when we practicing, sometimes the people used to get so tired with us because whole night we practicing. They used to put Pagate or Zuti on them steps and them just so we could go and sleep early. I could never forget them days. Pagate or Zuti. Just to stop us, and we never stop. We continue.
I did.
And I used to play and cut the steps.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but listen, you mentioned about playing mouth organ with Vasco Crescendos and then with Sancho and the boys. Bagga played mouth organ.
They had their own band. And we had our own band. That was the same Matthew. You see the same Matthew that Bagga is talking about? Matthew used to play with us with the drum because we make our own drum set. Used to play organ with us also. You know, so all those guys in them used to make it and went out there and do their thing. We all started from, from that small enterprise and move on. We all started with local, creating music. We used to make, but we couldn't have the motor gun. The 2 bottles, and you put a piece of foil paper.
Foil paper,
it was ready to trumpet.
Yeah, I remember.
That's all it all started.
Yeah. But you played motor gun. I know Bagga played motor gun too. You played motor gun?
Hey, who knows about the little banana motor gun then?
Yeah.
Little motor gun shape like Yo, that was the first thing, bro.
Right.
You understand? And then whatever they call it now, harmonica. Which is when you say harmonica, then you're a professional. You're a professional when you say that.
Yes,
but we know the motor gun, bro, that little banana thing. Every Christmas me have to buy a 2 or 3 because it break up and I bite it out or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
What about you, Andrew?
I couldn't wait for Miss Campbell to open. I couldn't wait for Miss Campbell to open on Christmas morning to get me the motor gun, man.
You played motor gun too?
That was the only thing I wanted for Christmas. Not a motor gun, a motor gun.
A motor gun. Yes,
all I got for Christmas, nothing else. But before I go to the motor gun, I have 3 medals here remain.
Okay.
It says Inter-Schools Athletics 1976. That's my last competitive race was cheaper. I got the battle 4th, and I came in 2nd. I gave them 2nd, and I could still hear the crowd calling my name in the stand.
Ramdam.
We go back to the motor gun now. That's the only thing I did for my Christmas. As Bagga said, there was the banana, but there was also the corn. Yeah, the corn.
Yeah, it was the corn too. Yeah,
the corn. Yeah. And then they had the honor. And my little brother, they could have pumped and I couldn't pump. I just blew. End of story. But it started there. Then the guitar came with my father. Well, most of you may not have known Mr. Chapman. I don't know.
I know Mr. Chapman very well. Yeah, I know
right. Well,
I know Mr. Chapman.
Yes. He and 40, Alfred 40. He had a band. Yeah. And before he died, he gave me the guitar. He never taught me to play. I played that guitar from 6 string till it became a one string. Yes, 1 string I played, And then I moved up to Central, and this guy had a band, a guy from Granori had a band up there. I was about 12, 15. The drums was taller than me. As they put me on the bass band. The band was taller than me, so they created something to stand up on. And when I started playing that, as I started going cheaper, Chairman said, hey, I want this pan thing and you have to leave it. So I forgot the pan thing. So I played pan too. And I didn't play bass, I played all the pans. I played tenor, I played double tenor, I played cello, I played guitar pan. And there was a guy named Tubbsy. He was vexed with me because I played parts. I played everybody's pan. I didn't pay to join the band. But I played everything in the band. So he was mad at me. Don't touch my pan. So that is the pan section. But after the guitar thing came in, and I moved to with harmonies when Daddy died. Dominic James, just remember that name. Staying at the support. Like Alfred Ford.
Yeah, the man
who started
Dominic scores and go off,
Yes. He showed me how to hold chords. And I used to go in the back there by the British shop between there where they were living back there. And he showed me how to hold chords. And that's how the whole thing started. Then in Shaper, we had music lessons. And we used to do piano. And the first song I could have played on the piano was Day After Day. I remember finding out about you. That's the first thing. Everybody used to come around and watch them play that. So from there, I moved on. They brought some trombone, trumpets in the school. And I tried all of them. But I used to get so hungry because I used to be hungry. I'm not ashamed to say it. I used to go to school hungry sometimes when Chapman died. So I let go the blowing instruments. And when I get back to the band, the drums, they put me on the drums. I was a drummer for a while. I play congas, I play timbales, I play guitar, I play lead, I play keyboard, and the bass is the last instrument I took up. I did vocals too, I did lead and background vocals. Me and tractor lead, me and dub, bias. Yes.
Yvonne, man.
Yvonne, yes. Oh, wonderful voice.
She had a voice.
Oh boy.
Right? I was like the utility man in the band. Yeah. Come to rehearsal, I play the instrument. Bass man come, I play the bass. Drummer come, I play. So when we go out to play, and they call that tune, you never practice it, so you can't play it. Ramdam, 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 Ramdam. Every instrument, the night after that, I should be so tired. But it was fun, you know? And then I don't know if you may continue coming back to Trinidad.
Well, we get to Trinidad. We get to Trinidad in a little while. Tony.
Go ahead.
Tony.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Tell us about you and the musical instruments. You know, did you play mouth organ too?
No. I did not. For some reason, I just could not get the mouth organ thing, man. So, if earlier on, I remember telling you about Derek coming to get me that one night, and there was a story behind that story because I was never part of the band. What I did though, I was there every night there was rehearsals. I didn't own a guitar. I didn't have my own guitar, but I used to find a guitar around the neighborhood to play everything I heard in that for that set. So they had a complete set. I learned every song from the set, just in case. And it just happened that night he came and got me, and I knew every song. I knew how to play every song because I never practiced with them, but I practiced on my own, listening to them every single night. And I was there. I remember even when Dread on the Control would play. Right? I was a kid, but there was a room in the liquor loft behind the main stage, and I couldn't get in because I was too little to get in. But every night I would sit there and I would listen to these guys play. Samai it was the drummer back then. You know, I used to remember the Samai playing. And that's how I think it was just being inquisitive, being willing to put in the hours of practice, and that's what ultimately helped me along. And I would encourage anybody listening, anybody who's interested, any kids that are listening right now, if you don't practice, let me tell you, it's not going to happen for you. You've got to practice, but you got to practice right, because you could practice all day and practice the same thing, and you'll never progress. You've got to make it more complex. You got to make sure that you're learning from the right people, because there are some teachers out there who are not very good. No offense to anybody. You got to learn from the right people, and you have to put the work in, the difficult work in, or for it to be better than normal, man. That would be my advice.
Very well.
Okay. So let's take in a little bit of a song, and after we'll take one verse and chorus, I should say, and we'll come back on the other side of that song. It's called Yes We Can. Brother John?
We should not depend on politicians, political parties, and government. Let us help ourselves to rebuild our country. It is 40 years, I know for sure. We gained our independence. We had a very steep hill to climb, but we never changed our mind. We are in the spirit and heart. Here we come and we play our part. Not what we country could do for we, but what we can do for our country. As the flag has smile with dignity and pride, touching the bullets of poverty as we grow to build economy. Invest in our children, best education can give, for a better life and future, our bread and butter. Whether rich, poor, black or white, young or straight or gay, with strength and energy, national unity, eventually we are on the way to victory. It is all a matter of time. It is all in our minds. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I believe we can. Education is top priority in this 21st century. Stamp out illiteracy. We can compete internationally. We can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I believe
Yes, we can. And
Yes, we
the
can.
title of the song and the essence of the song is reflective of the stories that have been coming from you four gentlemen here, in that you internalized at a very early stage in your development that yes, I can attitude. And that's why collectively you've said, yes, we can. And that's why you out there in the diaspora, making a name for yourself and for your country. Paco, tell us about that song, what's behind it. And you've been speaking about you and instrument playing. You were involved in singing before you got into Calypso. You were involved in that well-known choir called Youth Quake. So tell us about that element of the journey. In short, give us the short version.
Well, the short version is that song. I was inspired to write that song, based on my experiences, and I always had that belief in anything that I tried. And I show all the panelists there, the guys that the guests you have right now, they all know that once we put something, we might do something. Yes, we can do it. And I was fortunate. I won the Crown in New York with that special song also. So it was an inspirational song, and it took a long way. And musically, in terms of the development, I must say that it was a journey that takes me from music, took me out of poverty and bring me to a next level where I could emulate myself and able to help others. And most recently, me and a young man by the name of Robert Cadet, we was able to form a new band in Guelph, St. John's called Panosia. And we was able to came second in Panorama. We did our thing. But Faisal and Youth Quake is one of the groups that really took my music to a next level, from the teaching from Ms. Ramdani, Ms. Elsie Ferguson, Father Oliver Levy. And a lot of people don't know the home in Guelph, the Hillsview home, the money that was from our tour in England 1981, that money was able to use to purchase that home. A lot of people don't know that, but we have to let people know. And Youth Quake have made a contribution. We went to England, Scotland, Ireland, and coming out of Youth Quake, I have a young lady with a new group that I formed called Pan and Voices, called Cheryl Vincent, with a young lady from Jamaica, Miss Davis, truly blessed, and Nicole. And, we have an extension in New York called Quake USA, where we are one of the longest standing group in America, culturally, spiritually, everything like this. And we have made a contribution, and Youth Quake is still in existence. And, it's something that we cannot stop talking about it because you have took a lot of young people to our next level. And we were supposed to be celebrating 40 years in 2020, but because of reasons with the pandemic, we wasn't able to do that. And I want to make a big shout out to Miss Elsie Ferguson. She's health-wise, but she's, I want to pray for her and my blessings towards her and everything. And, Youth Quake have done a lot for us, for St. John's, and also, let me just mention the RC Church in Goa. We was able to redo the whole thing. And there was a sewing center in Goa, also that Youth Quake was able to build. A Pablo, I'm sure you remember the sewing center that we had in Goa.
Oh, absolutely.
And we made a contribution.
Okay. Well, you see how it goes. You see how the talent and the energy of God has contributed to the transforming and the development of the community as a whole in every element and in every aspect, And so moving on to Mr. Oslyn Pompie, tell us about your journey now in Trinidad with the music. What have you you said that you played everything out here, and since you've been down there, what roles have you been playing in various bands? I know you're more the eminent bassman right now. When you see the bass guitar we see you with, and so. But tell us some of the bands that you've played with down there and what your journey has been like in Trinidad.
Well, to do that as a runner, you have to go on a max first. So I'm going on a max.
Right, roger that.
Just like Quako, I was on the Leo Club. Val Williams, Jenny, Junior Passy, late Junior Passy, Mankind, she died also. And we used to do some community work, the community center.
Slangain, that's Jenny Slangain.
Slangain, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, did some community work, you know, help old people, clean yards and stuff like that. So that was in my time before I migrated. So coming to the music, well, boy, where to start? I started with a band by the name of Tropical Ambassadors. And then we had a few of us, the younger guys in the band. We formed a band called Natural Vibrations. And we played only reggae. One of the most known guitarists in the soca arena, Sly, played with Roy Cape. He's still playing with Black People.
Yeah. Hey, Roy Cape is my boy.
You're right. So Sly, the guitarist, myself, and then Barney. Barney's father was the one who, like the copyright person in Trinidad at the time, and then a drummer named David. We had a 4-piece called Natural Vibrations. We played only reggae, and we lived by that for a little while. Then I moved to Edwardston, the Brass Circle, and that one took me a couple places over New York, Canada, a few places, and it was something as I moved on again to Troubadours. This one took me to Holland, Belgium, England, and a few of the Caribbean islands. Then the pan band hired me. The bass man was good, but he couldn't make it one night, and he came and called me, and that was it. They never took him back. The name of the band, Pandigenous, and that's where once they found me, they didn't want him back, you know. But we remained good friends. She died a couple months ago. We remained good friends. I always encouraged him to learn to read the music. He never did. But I always encouraged him to practice and practice hard, you know. And then that band took me to the cruise ship industry, which I worked on. Off that, I built my house from cruise ship gig, you know. Then I had a few, after I finished the cruise ship gig, I came home. I ended up in different calypso tents. I played in Review, Kitchener's tents. I played in Sparrow's tent before it went underground. I played with Kaiser House for 5 years. Then I'm right now at Casa Crusoe tent. Then I had a few things. I had a few Milwaukee Summer Festival, 5 years. St. Lucia Jazz. I always wanted to play there, and I got a call from Pelangoil. We're going to play in St. Lucia Jazz for Robbie Greenidge, the great Robbie Greenidge, and David Rudder. Did that. I did St. Vincent Jazz with Errol Ince, Leston Paul, Dr. Leston Paul.
Paul.
Yes. And 2007, I got a call from unknown source, Alison Hines' show, to go to play in Jamaica for her.
Nice.
The woman. And when I got to the hotel, it's like she knew me for years. I just went through about 40-something songs. Boom, 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 boom. And the night of the show, she called me for on the stage. I was shaking my pants. I wanted to do this song, I wanted to help me. I said, what the hell happened to this woman? You know? So I went up there and she said, the song is Paloma Ding Ding Ding. I wanted to do something for myself to get into the song. And the boy went in and put an upset soul in front there. Well, the crowd went crazy, you know. So I did that with Alison Hines. She wanted me to stay with the band, but I didn't have not I didn't have it, it was expired. My US visa was expired. So I missed out on that because she had some North American tours to make. So that was part of it. Come back here and I was given an award by the NACC, National Action Cultural Committee. They put on the most calypso shows, more than even Tuco. From tiny mites to adults. They do the Young Kings, the Calypso Queen competitions, the juniors, you name it, they do it. And so they gave me an award in 2008. And it came at 2005, and we have to play in the band. And I was in the company, they gave 5 musicians every year. I was in the company of the legendary Joey Lewis, a jazz guitarist, Alemu Abene, the leader of the police band in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Nemblet, a guy who have a music school, he's a music teacher, Philo Neptune, and who's the other one? I called 5 already? Yes. So Joey, Alemu, Philo Neptune, and Mr. Nemblet. So that's the company I was in, which was a great honor for me because these guys, they read anything you put on the sheet there. And I'm still learning to read. When I say that, I mean, I read it, but those guys were trained, you know, they were musically trained. I got a music course from a gentleman by the name of Anthony Woodruff. He has his music school, and finally I was playing too good not to be reading. And he gave me theory. He said, I'm not giving you grade 1, 2, and 3, and 4. You pass that stage. And my son who reads, I just tell him to listen to you. So I'm giving you a grade 5. And he gave me grade 5, and I passed that. And grade 5 propelled me to a lot of jobs, you know, because I could read and I can play. And there's a thing it said that you cannot teach people, which I have. It's feel. Feel. So you can't teach people that, and that is your crown and glory, you know, your crown and glory. So
the award you said you get was from the National Action Cultural Committee.
That's the first one.
And it says top 20 Stars of Gold 2008.
Yes.
Excellence and outstanding achievement in music.
Yes.
Okay.
And I got a second one.
Cascadia Hotel.
Yeah.
Arapita Road, St. Anne's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what they do there?
The 11th of 2009 for bass guitar. Yeah.
Right there, the top 20 calypsos have been chosen, and they have a function there. And they award 5 musicians every year. That year, 2008, I was one of the 5. And in 2019, day before my birthday, October 31st, I was awarded. They took over the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Calypso Association. They award 2 musicians out of the maybe 40-something or 50-something awardees. 2 musicians have been awarded on that night, and I was one of the 2. October 31st, 2019.
Yeah.
Also, I got an award from them also.
Yeah, presented to Mr. Oslyn Pompie, Special Appreciation Musician, for your contribution to the promotion of the Calypso art form. Yeah, by Calypso, our stories are told. Long live Calypso.
Yes.
That's what it says. Yeah.
That's.
And in the bottom it says Calypso History Month. So you have a Calypso History Month in Trinidad?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
As a culmination, sort of, but they still have activities handover into November, but October is considered Calypso History Month.
Calypso
and the gala on the 31st of October, or the closest where it's convenient, to the end of the month, is where they usually have the gala, and they make the presentations to musicians, media personnel, Calypsonians, people who serve in other fields. There are a number of people, I think maybe about 50 people they give, but out of that, only 2 musicians are awarded.
Okay.
I consider myself fortunate to be in that 2 out of the whole of Trinidad.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
And before I leave, I also have 3 songs.
Before you leave, where are you going?
I'm not going to. I also write, compose, and I have 3 recorded songs.
We'll get to that. We get into that just now. Don't worry, we get into that. We get into that just now.
Okay.
We come into that. You can't give us everything in one. You know what I mean? You get into that in a little while. Hold on.
Hold something for you.
Hold up. You know what I mean? Uncle Tony.
Yes.
Tell us about your part of the journey out there. And some of those we just heard from Brother Ramdam, Oslyn Pompie, some of the notable bands and so that he played with and stuff like that. Tell us about your journey out there. And have you played with any bands of note all day? you know?
Well, no, I think my journey when I came to the United States, I was only in Brooklyn for a few months, and then I joined the United States Air Force. And after I joined the Air Force, there were some guys playing smooth jazz, and so I ended up playing smooth jazz with a bunch of guys in the Air Force for a couple of years, and then after that, I left the Air Force and I came back. Once again, my guitar playing took a backseat to my my education and work, man, because in order for me to go to school, I had to work. And so for a number of years, I spent time just working, going to school. And when that happened, I ended up in Indianapolis, and there was a small West Indian community, Caribbean community in the Indianapolis area, and I hooked up with some guys there. So we played around, you know, we'd do tribute to Bob Marley nights and that sort of thing. And then eventually, I had to move away again from Indianapolis, and I got a call in 2018. I mean, of all the people that were in Indianapolis that could play, and they said, well, this band is coming to town, and we want you to join us to open up for them. And it happened to be Third World that year in 2018, and that was a dream come true for me, just to be on the same stage there. And then subsequently, 2019, I got another call. And they said, well, Steel Pulse is coming through. We want you to come down to Indianapolis. Now, keep in mind, this is a 6.5-hour drive for me, right? I got to drive from Erie, Pennsylvania to Indianapolis, which is 6.5 hours. So I pack up my equipment and I head down there, and that was another terrific opportunity. And then we were planning on opening up for the Whalers in 2020, but because of COVID, we could not do it in July. But that's some of I think most of my music is heard by my basement walls. You know, that's where I spend most of my time. I spend my time in the basement. I have my equipment down there, and I spend a lot of time just doing tracks on YouTube and playing music there, because I have a slightly different career that takes up a lot of my time. But nonetheless, when I think my career has benefited me, and music has benefited my career because of stress, man. If you want to get rid of stress, learn to play an instrument and learn to listen to music, and not only just hear music, but listen to music, the intricacies of music, the musicianship that comes out of these amazing musicians. And I will tell you, I'm so proud to be here with you. And my journey is a little slightly different. But listening to the stories, man, it's certainly amazing. And music has been in my blood, will be in my blood. And I have to again acknowledge Mr. Raymond Simon for helping me along the way. Most people don't know what an outstanding guitar player he was, and not just any guitar player. He was in my opinion, preeminent guitar player, and not many people knew that at all. And so I have to acknowledge him. And he played a major role in helping me develop as a guitar player. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Mr. Raymond Simon, that is the first time I ever saw a Gibson guitar.
Really?
And I mean, that is the heaviest guitar I ever came across. You know? And how I happened to see that guitar is because this gentleman who is down on my bottom left there, the man Bagga, he was able, that was the only man that was able to get that guitar borrowed from Raymond Simon, and to leave Raymond Simon house with it, and to go out there and play with that guitar. So Bagga, tell us about that part of the journey, that connection with Mr. Simon and the Gibson guitar, and then tell us a little bit about your involvement in the musical day. We just heard from Oslyn Pompie speaking about his awards, I should say. And we see that you yourself, you have received an award which I don't think any other Grenadian musician has received as yet. And it says, the Recording Academy presents this certificate to Allan Bagga Mitchell in recognition of your participation as musician on the Grammy Award-winning recording Revelation Part 2, The Roots of Life by Stephen Marley. Best Reggae Album for the 54th Grammy Awards year 2011. So tell us about that. From Raymond Simon's Gibson guitar to Grammy Award winner. And after that, I want you to give us a little bit of comedy.
That song there, that's that song there, that's me playing guitar there. You just have to, Raga give me the opportunity from being on. But anyhow, hey, Mr. Tony.
Yes, sir.
Me and you have to talk about that guitar. Because, watch, if you look around me here, I have a lot of crystals. So we have a story. Just that's me between me and you. Crystal is that thing that you doesn't own unless it owns you. So sometimes you have a crystal for years, but it's not yours. You is just the holder. And when the owner comes, the crystal goes. Sometimes they're just missing, but it goes to the owner. You're holding my guitar, bro. Anyhow, going to the thing, man. Because, you know, because I was family with Mr. Simon, God bless him. As I say, the baddest guitarist that nobody knows. You know what I'm saying? He had that original guitar, our original Gibson guitar. And every time I go by him, just, because him know I'm in music, he used to always have to make me pull it out and play it, and then he show me cards and he show me things. He wanted me to read, like I say, the reading thing. I don't know why. I was like a little idiot because Sister Raphael one time wanted to teach me music, and me tell her straight out, hey, me could play them notes. Why me have to read them? Is it
Sister Raphael, you said?
Yes,
Oh, that was the principal of St. Rose. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she took a special interest in me, you know, like, you know, I don't want to go all in that there, but she goes like, yo, talented, you know what it is, but you got to take it to another level. And me go to her, I play in a band, because me one of the little youth that go to school and still play in a band, so half of the time in class me I sleep and daydream. Whereas other people, you know what I'm saying? And she goes, yo, come after school, anytime you want, I'll teach you how to read music. And I tell you, I look at the notes, just as Mr. Critchilo said, but sister, me could already play them notes. Why me have to learn to read it? And what I'm telling you, for all those young musicians out there, that was one of the most idiotic things me ever did in my whole life. You see, because that is how you advance. You have to learn and grow and learn. And it only takes that you have to go to the best and you have to learn the best of your ability. That means any knowledge you have to get off whatever job you're doing, you have to get the highest knowledge, whether it's university, whether it's street or whatever, somebody have to be your mentor and teacher. You know what I mean? Anyhow, that said and done, hey, me do a lot of music for all kind of people, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, the whole polyphonic story.
Right.
You check it out. Then the Dread Control story. That was a whole different bag. Hussein, you know what I'm saying? Sam I. How to call him? Botran, Chateau, Bread.
Before Botran, you had well, it's two bassmen of note. I know that you had Hussein, and then you had Donald.
Yes,
Donald was another very talented. Donald was another very talented guy.
Boy, you bring me back to things like that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, for truth, that was thing. And what happened is that you see in Dread Control, Hussein's sisters and them was my background.
They were the background vocals, yes.
Yeah, and Pete.
It was Maria and
Peters. Cecil Peters.
Yeah,
hey,
Cecil.
Peters, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You see that Grammy Award there? That since 2011, you know. I only last year me get it, you know. Because me go look at after everybody showing up with the Grammy right here, where they in the house is about like 10, 13 Grammys, real statues. But my name there on it so I can't show that. You know what I'm saying? But you understand? And me get this thing and I go like, everybody showing up. When you look at the Grammy show, everybody, oh, the Grammy, like this is the end of the world. I say, yo, hey, talent is talent. boom, bam, bam. Me don't need that. And Cecil Peters called me one day because he always communicating. Him say, what? You have a Grammy thing? And you don't have it in your hand? I said, no, man. I say, you're idiot business, you know what I'm saying? And him again go, Bagga, you know what that does for Grenada? You know what that does for Guelph? You know, Guelph town is the hardest town in the whole place. And you telling me you don't have it in your hand? He say, tell me how much it costs, what to do. And him go, I have the CD in the back there. Him order the CD. You take it out, and him send it for me. Him give me the money to pay $75 you have to pay to get that. And that's how me have it, you know, through Cecil Peters. Mad. Mr. Peters.
The accomplishment take place and you just were not particular.
Yeah. You understand where we come from? And it's because when I look at it from his perspective, Guelph Town have to be representative to the maximum effect. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, you know, all the third world, the steel posts, all them, you know, me sit down with all them man. Third world, Catco, all them man is my personal brethren, you know what I'm saying? I've been told, you know, I've been doing all kind of things. I told from left to right. We had the own little band up here. And, you know what I'm saying? But how I reach in America, you know, through the Hopeville thing, everybody know the story, whatever it is. Them still owe me money because here everybody get money, me never get. Because me that disappearing act, you know what I'm saying, even where I did, so and me on that, yeah, I'll let him know. But anyhow,
that's another story.
That, Dakari, that's another man after the props. Everybody know Dakari.
Preston Holas, yeah.
Preston Holas. Him is the one that paid the ticket from Grenada for me to come because after I come out of Hopeville, they had me under whatever for a whole year, what they call it, whatever for a whole year. I was 81, 82, the whole of 82. My good friend Juice Berry, another man that may have to go, you know what I'm saying? Everybody know him, you know what I'm saying? Liat. And that man smuggled me out of Grenada. I mean, you don't have to say that because me wasn't supposed to leave. Me have to report every time to the police station. And because the man working at the airport, he said, yo, Dakar getting you the ticket? Yes. He said, listen, just come at the airport 6 o'clock in the morning. And that man fly me up on the plane. By the time the military in the airport figure it out, he lock the door and me there in New York. You know, it's a whole heap of stories, you know. From New York, Spice Roots, Dakar again, back up most of all the reggae artists you want to know about. From way back there in the 90s, all them reggae artists and then Spice Roots band back them up. Then we moved on to Florida Hairstop.
As you mentioned that, could you just like to name a few of those, you know? You don't have to say...
Name of who?
Some of the notable artists that you back.
Man, I didn't want to go through that because it doesn't take a whole...
We don't want the whole list, man. Just name a few.
That would take a whole year to do.
No.
It just, me mingle with a whole heap of them that you know from way back. Them dancehall and them reggae artists. Those do nothing. From Frankie Paul come forward, way back. You know what I'm saying? So that's another story. But anyhow, we reached young in Florida here, so me and Dakari, we had a little whatever. Because you know, Dakari is a good burden, you know it is. Sometimes, but separate ways have to go sometime. And then me bounce up a youth called Johnny Dread. God bless him, so he have about like 5 albums. I used to play with him. And I used to play with Spice Roots at a place called Hungry Sailor in the Grove here in Miami. That was the hardest thing. Monday night, everybody come from all around the counties to come to reggae night at Hungry Sailor. There's a little spot like my living room here, so. And people used to be in the alley, but that was the hottest spot. And one day Johnny Dredd said, come to me, he's a little white youth, there's a Cuban youth that's interested in reggae and all them things. So me even call him Johnny Dre. His name is Juan Carlos Guardiola, Cuban immigrant family, you know what I'm saying? And he said, hey, you know who's my good friend? Me could introduce you to Bob Marley brother there, man. And I said, who? In my mind, I said, it's like a white boy, what I'm talking about. All the time, he don't know that they're his friend. One night now, when the party going on, I saw me take the break. He come and say, hey, me and one of them brothers here, you know, Anthony, he would love to meet you. So I look at him and say, Joe, anyhow, me follow me, whatever the joke, me go with him. And me meet this brother, strong, look like, hey, when I tell you, look like Marcus Garvey, like he is Marcus Garvey, brother. Same thing, same way, just how Marcus look. That's how that brother look, man. Strong, you know what I'm saying? And him say, thing, and I look at him and say, but him don't even look like Bob. So what can I lie that? But in my mind I say that, but I still, you know, still go, yeah. Now figuring out, that's the man, brother, for real. So we turn friends. And then me, him, and Johnny Dread. Teach Johnny Dread to play drum. Anthony is one of the baddest bass man. And he used to play around with everything. He bring me down to the house to meet his mother. There's some Sedela Mali, God bless her soul. One of the psychic, the mother of a prophet in this time. We meet her. And then we start rehearsing and start with like a band there. So, and that's how I get to be around the Mal family. Steve and them used to be on tour in time and they come and they check out. And for years, me go about that thing. You know what I'm saying? Then I think what I have to say is that, you know, when you have a dream, when I just turned Rasta, the first music I hear was from Craig. He play Lively Up Yourself. Everybody do their little Benago. You know Benago? Right. That's where Rasta used to go to hide.
From the album Natty Dread.
Yes. And that's where Rasta, everybody knows where the Rasta used to go and hide from the Popo, because we must do in the coming. And the man play, I think, Lively Up Yourself. Me jump, me was on the big stone in the water. Everybody know the big stone in Benago. Me was there, all of my daydream. And me hear this music and me jump and me go, yo, who is that? What kind of music that? Because I don't know why it went to my soul. And he say, yo, that's reggae music, you know. That's Bob Marley, you know. And he show some picture with the little dreadlocks and them other big things in the mouth and going on and thing there. And that changed my life forever. Every night me used to dream me there on stage with Bob Marley. Me used to like stand up on the side stage as if I were with all his family. I dream in that, you know. Then he would turn and say to me, youth, you know you want to play me guitar, you know. And he would take out him guitar on stage, give me, I play one song and he goes, I kick you off my stage now, you know. Ross, go over, sir. And me go back, you know what I'm saying? But every night I dream in that, you know, not even know that me would reach. You understand where I come from? Certain section.
Not even knowing that you will become a member of the Mali family.
No, because I tour with Raga, the Steve, and I have the gram in him. Jah made it possible. Jah bless this, you know what I'm saying? And one of my accomplishments, what nobody knows, I recorded the last album that Bob's mother did. Okay. That's about like 10 songs. And the last 2 songs, just before she passed, 2 weeks before she passed, the last 2 songs, singing about her death. See, me recorded them things this up. You know what I'm saying? So because of that being around there, Steve take me in, me did a little tour with him, boom bam bam, you know what I'm saying? Not a long tour, but a little running. Green Cat expire, took a little while to get it back. And now me's an exile. Me are scared to say, me don't know green card, me don't have no passport right now, exile. Just as how for the more than half of the years I spent in up here, I tour all the country without no green card, without no passport, nothing, bro. You know what I'm saying? But God blessed me to be here to do this. Everything in between is a lot of people from the polyphonics into the dread of the control, Mr. Scratch and Gatti and the whole, you know what I'm saying? Right, Luther, him brother Duck, the whole thing coming forward is a lot of names that me could call. And out here now is a lot of big names me meet and play with. Woody Harrelson, I have a picture of Woody Harrelson and Miss Booker. They make a song together. We make all the rhythm and sit down and stay in the whole day and record it and them kind of running there. You know what I'm
saying? That is something that we get into shortly. You and the whole issue of your sound engineering. But before we get into that, I want to get back to Mr. Pompie. And before we get to Mr. Pompie, Brother John is supposed to have something lined up there that I want him to play for us. Something called Daisy. And we'll take it on the other side. Brother John, you ready?
Yeah, Brother John.
us about that recording and your involvement in that recording. What role you played in that recording, Mr. Pompie?
Well, the role I played is from start to end.
Mm-hmm.
I was living by myself at the time, and I had a box guitar. I borrowed a friend's cassette tape, and I played, I knocked, I played drums on one side, and I sang, and I put everything together, and I went up to the band room. Band I played with then is called AFSAC, AFSAC, they previously known as Champagne. And when the leader of the band heard the song, he said, hey, studio. The leader of the band, Curtis Masterton, he's the son of the legendary again, Mano Masterton. We would have heard of Mano Masterton back in Trinidad. Yeah. And we went to the studio, and that was the end of it. I played bass. And I gave them all the lines. I did the arrangements, everything. And that's all.
Yeah. Any other productions that you've been involved in that you've played that kind of role in?
Yes, I have two more. One I gave my son when he was 10 years old. And the lyrics in that song is what I really like. It's called What You Sow. It is really about school violence, which I detest. So I didn't give it the full exposure. So What You Sow, and I put school violence in bracket. I did all the instruments except the guitar. A friend from New York, Junior, Jimmy Phillip. He comes to Trinidad every year to play in the Calypso tents. He did the Jimmy Brown. And can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Jimmy Brown did the guitar. My wife did the backup. Mm-hmm. And my son did a few of the keyboard lines. I did the keyboard line, the other lines, bass, and I did the drum programming and that song. So my 10-year-old son is the singer of that one. And then I have another one, which was done by Juice Man. Juice Man is the leader of the band Blacks and the All-Stars, previously Roy Cape and the All-Stars. Juice Man was police officer, then he joined Roy Cape, and he really led the band. Roy Cape is the owner of the band, but Juice Man was the musical director of the band. He wrote a lot of, did a lot of work with Sandra. Most of our hits is Juice Man. Black Stallion, most of his albums, Juice Man is the arranger. So you can check that guy out.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the other one. I did the song, and I wrote it for another band member of his band, which I never disclosed who it was. Mm-hmm. When I went to the studio with it, she was doing something for Sandra. My wife was doing the backup. And he heard the song and said, Pompie, you're doing that song. I said, well, I write it for Mr. So. He said, nah, I do that song. And that has got much water. Yes.
Right.
All love is it. So all three of them on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So people can, check them out. So you can type my name in and the three of them will come up. Or you can type the name of the song, add my name, or whichever one they would like to, and you'll get the two songs there.
Okay.
So I played bass. I didn't sing any of them. I gave it a break.
Okay. All right. So, Burgess McPhie, the mighty Quako, what's happening for you presently musically? What's in the pipeline? Where are you? And I know you're this bad Mr. Tenor man. Are you going to give us a taste of the pan this afternoon too? Is it possible?
Well, yeah, I could give you a little something. Since we're in the History Month, I prepared something else, but since we was talking about Black History Month, I figured I'd do something for you. And I did something called Give Me Back My Identity.
Okay.
And, well, I have something to release pretty soon, something called Fighting for Survival. We're in survival mode right now based on the pandemic, so eventually it's coming.
Right.
If you could just give me a minute, let me just put that in there, and I give you guys a little taste so that give me back my identity.
Right. No problem.
Yeah, man. Grandfather. As I grew, yes, I realized it was not like yourself, just to go jump around like an elf. External influences
May my body a ghost as a stranger, I live like a colonial ghost. In search of my true identity, I stumble upon a great discovery. The name and religion for which I rant and rave were a part of the plan to keep me myself. Give me back my identity. I said, give me back. It belongs to me. So give me back my identity. Give me back. I'm reshaping my destiny. You enslaved me and then you put me in jail. You brainwashed me and then you changed my name. You whipped me like a child and called me insane. It was all for fortune and fame. So give me back my identity. Give me back. I issue an apology. Yeah. My grandfather. Yes, guys, I don't want to get you too long.
Yes,
Just say something.
Yes,
Let's take them back to our struggles.
Yes, I. Hey. Yeah, man. Uncle.
I just want to give you a little taste, of our struggles.
Right.
Give us back our identity. It all belongs to us.
Right.
You enslave us, but we still progressing. Can't stop us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just a little taste, man.
Well, I tell you.
Before we move on.
Yes,
Pablo.
Yes,
I want you to say, I want you to emulate that young man Tony, because I can remember the days of Illy's Vibration.
Mm-hmm.
The first young man I see took a guitar and bringing the crossover. While we was playing a soca or reggae, I just take that guitar and just start and just make that guitar talk. And up till this day, I'm still amazed. Tony, tell me how you did that, man. I could never forget that, man. I used to be always excited when I see Tony do that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we just got a bit of a taste of what's coming from Burgess McPhie, the Quako in the Calypso arena. Multi-talented. And we had three other musicians. I see the bassman pick up his bass.
Yes,
you know, and Bagga been sitting at his workstation there, and he's ready to go. So let's get a taste of Bagga, and we'll get a taste of Tony. I tell you, I knew this show was going to be one with a difference. Bagga.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
What you want?
Yeah, man, me want whatever it is that you could offer me here from all this keyboard and this guitar and all this thing where you have around your day. Yeah?
Yo.
I know that you have, because one of the things though, I want to hear from you. In recent times, when you and I have been communicating, I heard you playing quite a bit of what we call dub music. And dub music was very popular back in the day. In these days, is ragamuffin and you have the upbeat kind of reggae music and so, and we don't hear dub music. Just before you get into playing, tell us a bit about what's happening in the dub arena, in the reggae dub arena right now.
Well, what's going on is that you don't hear too much of dub here because, again, the white people want to take it over.
Okay.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, man.
Because if you check dub right now, it's big in Europe.
Okay.
Especially them Italian people. Them, you know what I'm saying? Right now, if you don't know, but right now nearly every day, every week, it have a whole heap of live dub going on, like I will show you in a little while what's going on. And it's a whole heap of white people. There's enough albums of dub. There is the what they call the sound system culture is alive and well in Europe and England. Big sound system like how it used to be in Jamaica with big box of speakers and them things. The man them carry on. You know what I'm saying? From Grenada in Switzerland or Sweden or my brethren they call Trinity Sound.
Yeah,
You have to
Trinity
look them
South.
and
Back
them
when
up.
we call him Rabia Burgess.
Yeah.
Man, Rabia,
From
yeah.
Waterloo.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You have the live thing going, you know. So them culture is live and well, and in that way, to me, dub was always what I call the underrated or unsaid spiritual side of reggae, because you know reggae came from getting a little so and so together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The thing that they want to legalize, and all the rich people want to make money, and the poor people who used to be doing it all the time. You know, I don't want to go into that.
That's for another conversation.
Right. So because of that, you know how dub music come with the echoes and the thing, and they will dub out the voice, and they will do all this little thing. And me always to my heart go like I want to do a couple album or just dub. You know what I'm saying? And so we listen to a lot of dub on my YouTube channel. Is pure dub, side dub, this dub, back steppers dub, everything. And then I have some brethren here. One of them, bless his heart, called Drew. He was my keyboardist, and him start with these little things that dub. He and another called Raskiva. Them could teach a lot of things. Ableton is the program I have up right now, because my platform is a lot through Ableton, you know, Logic, you know what I'm saying? I do the whole round, I do sit to one. And the man, they start to do the live dub, and I'm going like, I do have to program it in there, I do have to write it in automation, live, and then all the little equipment people start, because of the European thing, those companies start making little things like this thing here, see? That's like an 8-channel mixer that is just through USB. You know what I'm saying? You control everything. You know what I'm saying, sir? And you could do see all the effects and all kind of thing. They download your effects and thing and start. So this guy start that, Drew and the man them, and they start making. And then this guy called Aki Becker from Midnight, who just passed away too. You know what I'm saying? Them and them, they're doing work for everybody. They start to work for everybody, start to, but everything was the dub thing. And then I get into that, so I go like, oh, we could do it live, boom, bam, bam. I'm into the dub thing right now. And I want dub culture to go far, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like I'm doing a rhythm, but with the dub. So we're making rhythms. I was just talking to Keela a while ago. We have some little project that will come up, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If I don't, your mom should be my cousin, because his name is Mitchell, Ms. Mitchell. Mr. Keith Mitchell, he might be my cousin too, but he better watch himself. May have to talk to him personally.
Don't go there.
No. I don't mean it in any political, I don't mean it in no political way.
Yeah,
whatever he's doing, Rasta don't involve in that, you know what I'm saying? I just say he might be my cousin, I might have to talk to him, you know what I'm saying? Nothing, you know. But anyhow, that's how we're into dub. Dub music to me is spiritual on said side. When you really want to get into things, you know what I'm saying?
So
some dub music.
So we just got a bit of a flavor from Quako here, and you have all of your stuff around you, and so can you give us a little flavor at the dub? And while you're at it, I guess you could pull out 2 riffs on the guitar for us. I see Ramdam have the bass ready. So what? All you gonna be doing a jam, all right?
Ready for them?
Yeah, you ready for them, okay. Tony had his guitar out a while now. But
I have to pick up my pan too.
Yeah, all of that. You know.
Volume good?
Come up a bit.
Bring it up.
Yeah, you could come up one. Yeah, I think we could do that. Mr. Baseman, no. Mr. Baseman, are you here? Yeah, Mr. Dabrian seems to have disappeared. Yeah. Where Tony? Tony has disappeared on it.
Get your music on. Energy of one in the house.
And they just putting it together.
Yes, sir. Keep on jamming, keep on jamming. I'm loving this.
Lovely.
I
other than that? How's it other than that?
We hear all in the back there. We hear all in there.
Genesis.
Yeah. So, Bagga, while you're at it, right? You've been playing music here, and from being around, I saw you transition from a strictly rhythm guitarist into becoming a soloist. And I remember those times sitting down when you would be, Pablo, boy, that finger will want to move, boy, that finger's getting stiff and so on and so forth. And then when people started to hear you, I also, something came back to me when Oslyn was speaking about that recording that he did on tape. And I remember you doing a recording using 2 tape recorders. You did, yeah, Bagga did a recording like that. Yeah? Using
That's our first start.
He did the drums. He recorded that.
One channel, the bass on the other channel.
And then he did the bass and playing back the drum and recorded there. And then he went back and then he put it there and he played that and he go on the grand piano and he played that and then, you know, and at the end of it, he had our recording. So he started. Now he's into sound engineering, using all of that technology. Tell us a little bit about that transition. You know?
Like I tell you, a lot of things came to me naturally through them. You know, it's afterwards, after a lot of years, I find out that my mother used to play a lot of instruments too with her sister, Angela Campbell, that was Clarence Campbell's first wife, with Andy and Chris, mother. We find out that them had their own little band going. So them tell me that the music to me kind of through that side of view, because she used to be the leader of the church choir too, you know, play the organ upstairs, that organ. I remember I used to go and you have to press the thing to make it play. You know what I'm saying, where we come from? So now from find out that a lot of things, so Don Charles, everybody know John Charles. I can't remember the name of the band what him had, but Don Charles had the first really recording studio in Grenada.
Moss International. Moss International.
Yes. Oh, with him white Irish and thing there. You know what I'm saying? And Don is my close friend, and because he is the one who recognized what I could do, me and Itron and the man them. He used to just call me. So I go by him one day and just met him alone in the studio. We spent hours in there. People don't even know, but I used to record the drums, the bass, and the piano and everything. These things never came out because I had to leave so kind of in a certain way. And you know what I'm saying? That even when I came back in 2008 before he passed, me and him hook up again, you know what I'm saying? And we used to talk about that. But it's from that, when I go into the studio there, I go like, wait, oh, that's what a recording studio really look like with all the big mixing board and the booth and, you know what I'm saying? So me spend a lot of time with him, just, you know what I'm saying? And then I go like, but me could do all these things, so me get 2 cassette players. And I have a little drum machine, a little something thing, you know what I'm saying, going, and a little drums on the side. One side, left side, bass, the other side, drums. Put it in the other cassette player, put it close by so, and then play the piano. Just as Pablo said, so from that kind of get me interested in things. And then I come out here and then with Spice Roots. When I was Spice Roots, I was the engineer. We had a nice little studio, rehearsal studio by the big mixing board now. And even then, within a tape recorder, I was still doing the same thing. Because when Sling Thing, the first automated reggae song come out, Sling Thing, everybody know it was one little Casio player there. I had the same little drum machine and thing home. The two and I go like, this is what and me start doing my thing there. So from that now I go like, engineering kind of came natural to me again, but I had things to play with, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I start going into this thing, and then the computer, me just run up into the computer, the first little Commodore computer and thing, get a little program and start from way back. And I'm talking about 83, 84, because it's 83 me come to this country, yes sir. So from that time and up to now, what I find out is that You know, everybody, all of musicians know, even though the musician is your friend, you still can't depend on musician, man. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're really dedicated, you can't depend on them. Because when you want the bass man to show up, musicians have some of the most attitude I could talk about. From the biggest star to the smallest little player that could play two notes. Once they could do it, musicians have attitude, my brother. Comes with that, and I go like, me could do all that for myself. Me still love to play with everybody, but me have to get my own things together. And slowly, I just start to get equipment, stay online, watch the latest thing, boom, bam, bam, what you could do to get yourself together and learn everything. Me could set up a whole studio, me never learn it, but me could go and rewire a whole studio for you right now, because I do it all the time. You know what I'm going to say? Just naturally, don't think me don't look in book. See the man called Gate from Dreaded Control?
Yes.
He showed me how to wire. Never liked them wire. Me was the man that did the musician thing, but he didn't put. Dreaded Control was one speaker that my father, Johnny Branch, by force. Polyphonic was a band. When we play against all them bands, one amplifier we have, a Yamaha amplifier. The whole band going through it. We didn't have to sing. So Luther played the lead guitar, me had the rhythm guitar, Plico Platt, bassy, and what, the whole band. Then when we come to the control, Gate had two speaker box, stereo speaker box from home that him wire up and up for that thing. So we run it from the main amp into them two speakers. And in the back of Chessman place and where we go. That is what is to run. So the system was Dreaded Control, because we used to listen to the Mikey Dreaded Control from Radio 1, 1 o'clock in the morning, all them Rasta by the river by Margareton, and we listened to that. And the man used to say, Dreaded Control to make the rhythm roll, and scratch when he come DJ.
Rankin Ijaman.
Right. Whatever. I just do. But and so people give us the name Dreaded Control because he will always go, Dreaded Control, and they give us that name. So Dreaded Control from the sound system went into Dreaded Control in the band. Yes. We just transitioned because we were using the same amplifiers and the same speakers, them two little stereo box with the amplifier, and that's how, you know what I'm saying? And from that time, engineering kind of just come natural to me. That I just figure that you have to learn everything. If you're a musician, you have to learn to play a lot of different things. But mainly, if you want yours, once you're recording, you have to learn how to turn some knobs, frequency, because in the universe, frequency, sound, words, power. That's why sometimes Babylon could, because spelling is casting spells, frequency, you understand? Numbers, and sound, and frequency. And through frequency, you could manipulate people's mind, because that's what it is, because we are frequency. You know what I'm saying? Magnetic, electric, and frequency. So I just say, it just come natural that you have to be able to tweak with two knobs. Even at your home, and you're doing your own little thing, just fiddle with two knobs and turn to frequency, and you'll see amazing things happen.
Do you guys realize that we've been at this afternoon here for 2 hours now? Yeah,
yeah, because it's a good thing we're doing.
It's 2 hours, we're going to go there already, you know. Anyway.
We uplifting Grenadian,
I know, but...
Hey, all them little young artists are going on all them way there, so they must learn from iron steel.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, go ahead and Burgess.
Remember that band I used to be down street, they used to call Mele Kumbe?
Yes, man. Dan.
Yeah. I used to play with him too.
Yes.
I used to play with him too.
I used to start and watch you guys
and he used to play everything too.
The whole time.
Guitar, he played bass, he played trumpet, he played everything.
Yeah, for everything.
That was the man.
I'm glad you bring up that name there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yo, that was an ignorant man, but when I tell you, his heart was big.
Yes, he was a big man.
Yeah, was a big man.
His heart was big.
He started 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
God bless him. Yeah. Bud, you try to say, Bud?
Well, I think you forgot to mention one more, you guys, that as in your band. As a little boy, I should remember. You remember Doc?
No, that's I mentioned him already from California because them was Estelitos and Casa.
Yeah, they were Estelitos, yes, with Don't Stand Pedro.
Right. I get the starting band.
Yes. As a little boy, them things stay with me as a little boy because I used to watch them men and them. I used to go and stand up and just watch back at them. I just watch them and just pay attention. All them bands and them, I just did. When I'm used to practice with harmonies with brass up there, I used to just go and stand up by the door and just listen to them men and them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So Oslyn, tell us, you were going to say?
Yes, I didn't want to forget that. Mr. Raymond was, I don't know if he taught my father. My father taught him. But they were,
Who that?
Mr. Raymond.
Yeah.
Raymond Simon?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if he taught Chapman. They were very close friends. And during the school vacation, after being like 11, 12, I used to go to Banana. One is estate, the other estate in Florida, and the other one in Victoria.
Yeah.
I took the man teacher was dragging. We bought banana for him, and he used to with us with the other place. He took us up in the morning, carry us up in Victoria there, but he and Charmin was bosom buddies. I don't know who taught who, but they were into the thing together.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I tell you, it was amazing to hear him sit down. I remember one little lick from him. He's like, so, and he goes. And by the way, I was fortunate enough in 2000, I think it was 2002, they did a replica of a Bob Marley guitar, you know, and I think they did 200 or 100 of them. I was just lucky to get number 74, man. This is like a.
Come on.
There's a little bit of delay, you know?
Yes, there's a little bit of a delay in the sound.
And then, let me tell you, this is where the inspiration came from, man. You know, as a kid, you're listening for the radio, and I remember my stepfather had a reel-to-reel, and I would take listen to the radio, take the reel-to-reel and a little microphone, put it right next to there, and record. And every now and then, as I'm rewinding, this thing is bust, and I have to take some tape and mend the bloody thing, man, because that's all you had back then. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but I tell you, I like all kinds of stuff. I like so blues, right? So something like that, you know, you just, by the way, you have to have a little funk, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, you know, you gotta have a little bit of that.
Yeah, man.
True.
Oh, yeah.
True.
What's the wind up?
True.
Yeah.
some of us play jazz too, not only soca and reggae, and we just
Right.
in Korea.
Yeah, I saw a big jazz promotion that had you on a crew. Can you tell us about that?
Say it again.
I saw a promotion, you and some others in a major jazz show, I think it was. Yeah, a jazz group, a group of y'all.
But I can't recall which one of them because I didn't.
So that. Are you into the engineering aspect of the musical? Also?
Not 100%, but most of my stuff I did at home first.
Okay.
Before I go to the band room. But my son is in that field. He's a producer. He's singing, he's playing. Yes, he's that right now. Even as he's in university, but he does that at the side still. So I just wanted to play a little bit of Chick Corea Spain.
Right. Yeah. All right. No sound not coming out now.
No sound coming your way, man.
No, we're not hearing it.
He just came back or something.
That's good bass line. Oh, Lord, I lost it. As the sun come back. I lost it.
I don't know if it's the frequency of the bass, but the sound is not coming through. You know. But I believe we could begin to see that the 2 hour and a half mark, and I know the closing down is going to take a couple more minutes. Can we just take the route and give some what final words that you want to share? What's in the pipeline taking place with Oslyn, Pompie, and the music in Trinidad presently? You know, seeing that there's no carnival this year, what has been happening and so on.
But for me in particular, kind of the regular carnival, we have a lot of virtual shows.
Okay.
All of these solo artists, Pompie just did his last night. Second Star had his first. Nadia Batson, Black, Rikal, Freddie. You know, most of the guys have their own thing. Kes has a 5-day, it's ending tonight. Yeah. But for most of us musicians who are not linked, I'm a freelance musician. I don't play with any particular band. Anybody who wants to call me, we make an arrangement, and I will. This is how I've been doing it for the past couple of years. But we haven't had much particular songs because you can't play for 5 people in a club.
Right.
So until, and they say that will be the last industry to open back.
Okay.
Last.
Okay.
Because
So
if
that's
you go into the bar, you need people. And if the bar will pay the band, they have to have people to pay to come in and
Right.
selling out drinks. And you cannot drink in the bar. You just buy and go. You know? So we are sort of handicapped. But my wife, who is a backup singer, they have a couple of things. As a matter of fact, now while we'll be leaving to go to Queen's Hall, she have a show there. She had one on Thursday night, which was very good. So we got a couple of things during the season. But musicians and apart from the solo acts, nothing is happening for us.
All right.
Everything now is virtual.
All right.
And sometimes they just use the in my Calypso time, they had a show, but CD or flash drive.
Right.
You're not using a band. Now and again, you might see a few people using that band, but most of the people, they just use a flash drive because it depends on fund, GoFundMe,
Right.
or donations.
Right.
So flash drive and CD as case may be.
Yeah, you have to cut the cost.
Yeah, they have to
And DJ.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was watching on Monarch last night.
Yes.
In Trinidad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they used, that's the final, so they used Blacks and the Oysters.
Yeah.
Tourist there, that's style. That's my partner. Rasta man. Well, you call the Rasta, but that's the guy who started with having the reggae band. We played the whole reggae. But he's one of the guys that Blacks and the Oysters. He's a guitarist. So they used only the final night. I got a couple of calls, do stuff, but fun is a problem. Guy was supposed to bring something. Guy was supposed to play Joey Rivers band. He called me. We had a long conversation, and funding is a problem. Myron B was supposed to have something where I was supposed to play. Funding is a problem. So I left the practice, and before I leave here, I want to tell all the young musicians out there: practice. You don't get bored, and there's always something different you can do. You can buy books like I did, or you can go on YouTube, and as Gabriel said, look for the good people and learn from them. There's always something you can learn there. Practice. You have to have a gig. Practice if you get a gig ready. You thought of Oslyn Ramdam, Oslyn Joseph. That's what I did. That's what get me to where I'm at. Alright? Definitely.
All right, it's a pleasure having you. But just talk to it. Final words for the evening.
Yeah, well, let me say, first of all, what a great guest we had, and Mr. DJ Man, all the blessings and everything. But I want to say something about Pablo. As a Calypsonian, I know as a young man growing up, and my last time I was in Grenada, I didn't make it in time to go on George, and I saw you dropped in the Kaiso Bads in Grenville.
Right.
And I was really impressed with that two tunes that you put down there.
Yeah.
I don't know why you didn't get to the semi-finals, but
I know. I know everybody that might expect you to hear me them call for this guy. I know.
That was the last time I've been in Grenada. And I said, my God, what else you got to do? But anyhow, guys, you know Pablo is an Ovid musician himself. So he can't say nothing about our guest. But the man is, he's up there with musical, he's writing. And there's a young lady that keeps talking about you all the time. Her name is Pet Jeremiah.
Oh, Pet, yeah, man, that's my good sister, man. That's my good sister.
Yes, she wrote a song for her. She can't stop talking about it. And me and her is very good friends because we, for the Independence 47 years, we had a big show. And she was hosting the show, and I performed there with my group, Pan and Voices, and I performed 2 of my songs. And at the same night, she said she wanted to perform the song, but based on the time how it was, But Pablo, I must say, it's a great job you getting all us here together, bringing out that war in us and making us see each other. So long I haven't seen Bagga live, even though we text each other. And Tony, man, it's a pleasure seeing you. And Tony, I hope you get a chance to talk to Straker.
I will.
And Mr. DJ, greetings, my brother. And Ramdam, well,
That's my
and all the best guys, and stay safe, and God's blessing. It was a pleasure being here with you guys, and like I say, God's blessing, Pablo, and keep up the good work. You're doing a good job with your regular programming, and I think it is a great thing you did by getting us together. And don't forget those guys and Prek, the karate man, Mr. Michael Sutherland. And don't forget those guys and them. You can't forget those guys and them.
That's another story for another time.
That's another story for another time. Brother Dabreo.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's been a pleasure.
Final pitch for the afternoon.
I think I have to echo what Mr. Oslyn Pompie said. For people who I certainly, I think my time has come and gone, not in the sense that I can't contribute anymore, but there's so many young, talented people, who are coming up behind. They just need to continue to, as Mr. Pompey said, practice and practice hard and practice some more, man. That's all I would give.
Speaking of that, while you're on that, there's something that I needed. I know there was something I needed to add also. So an issue that I needed to raise. What's the prospect? We're speaking about young people and practice. This one is for you too, Mr. Pompie.
Yes, sir.
What's the prospect, as we're speaking about the young people and learning, what's the prospect of us having virtual training, music training for young people who's interested in playing music in Grenada? What's the prospect of us developing a program to deal with that?
Yes, I am ready.
You ready?
Because I am here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't travel right now, but
Mm.
I can give back to the younger ones.
Okay.
A program like this.
Okay.
I'm ready as soon as you're ready.
Okay.
You have my
Well, same here, you know.
Yes.
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 Yeah, we certainly want, and one of the things I want to do is start getting in the hands of people who are truly interested, kids who are interested, getting them access to instruments. Because I remember as a kid, I mean, I dreamt about guitars, but I couldn't afford one. I didn't have money to get a guitar, you know what I mean? So if there's anything I can do to get in the hands of young musicians instruments, you know, like guitars, because in some cases they're very inexpensive. Guitars these days, you can get them. So as soon as we are able to get this thing together, let's start it, because I think virtually we can get it done.
All right.
Yeah,
All
man.
right. So,
I'm all for that.
I'm in on this too, man. I'm in on this too.
Roger.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah, man.
I got final words coming for the evening.
Veteran, man. The veteran in the house.
Yeah, my God.
Man,
Final
I
words.
had to say, yo, me love this little reasoning. We don't converse, you know, we don't corner nobody right now. And I said, but the reasoning, and when you reason, a lot of things could happen, just as this last said thing as to how we could uplift the musicians, you know, the schools, you know what I'm saying? That if we come together and we could, you know what I'm saying, do things for them, virtual class or get equipment to them or something, is a thing that I think really, really should happen, you know what I'm saying? You know, because there's a lot of other people other than us that into that. And we might be the poor musician, but you have a lot of rich Grenadians, and we have to go and juke them, you know what I'm saying? Juke them till when you juke the man, we must fall, you know what I'm saying? Shake the tree, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. One person I have to tell you about, you know the one called 2 Feet that passed away, 2 Feet.
Yes.
But if it wasn't for 2 Feet, a lot of things in my life wouldn't have happened too. So I have to always have to give thanks to him, you know what I'm saying? God bless his soul, let him just pass away like that. But as a Rasta man, that youth they help a lot to I. And he even was involved in when we had the group called Black Milk. A lot of people don't even know about that Black Milk, you know, me and Patrick and Sam I, you know what I'm saying, and Itran, Botran, Chateau, and all the baddest that passed, you know what I'm saying? We had all the baddest little group going, bro.
You know, that house in Wester Hall down there.
Yo, the man give us 2 feet, give us a house. Sit down and just practice all day, doing nothing but doing a little thing and practicing music. And then we get a couple little shows, just posting a little thing and we do. But you know, as political things came into it and crashed the whole thing because Babylon always figure them, whatever, the vampire always have to show them face, as usual. But I think that I'm involved in Grenadian music, even though I'm sitting here. I listen to almost everybody. Of late, I hear some dancehall coming out of Grenada. When I play it for my brethren, them Jamaicans here, so them can't even tell me that it came from Grenada. They'll say, wait, who that, what that? And I go like, that's a Grenadian artist. Brighter Star and them man and them, Noah X and them doing the thing. What Elite Productions, a lot of them, all them jab man, me that jab man, you know. Me take jab all over, but we got to have some positive lyrics in jab music to take it to the other level. This wine up and drink up and rum thing, you know why it's rum? You know why it's rum? Rum is a spirit, you know, the spirit it overtakes you. That's why it is called alcohol. When you look up that etymology, you will see that that is not good for the people unless you want to go into the spirit world, which is from the Shango time. You know, we used to go to the Shango, beat drum, and when the spirit takes you from the alcohol, you do your thing. So I think that jab music could do a lot of things, because me is a jab man, me from boom, bam, bam. But we just change the lyrics to be a little more positive. This wind-up thing, this is the age of Aquarius, we're just moving seriously, serious. We're in a different time. Earth will never be the same again. People have to know that. Don't think we're going back. That vaccine thing and thing is a joke. They already proved that now works. So whoever wants to deal with it, that's your, if you don't do research, that's it, you have to research. But if you do positive lyrics in the jab music, man, you will understand. That shit will fly, bro. Because when jab music play, you must shake your waist. You must foot your show. You must fiddle a front. You must do that. I don't care who. All them Californians from Australia and them know they mean how to play the jab music too. And you know where that come from? That's I culture from way back slave time to now. See? So if they change the lyrics a little bit more positive, so that you could have a positive vibration going on,
Amen.
that's what music is. Music is universal, not even universal, universal creation. You understand? Sound, word, song, power. So put some positive music in it. I'll still dance and shake my waist and wind up on anything there. That, you know what I mean? I gotta say that, my brother.
Okay, my brother. So it was a pleasure having these 4 musical cultural ambassadors. And I guess anyone who would have been with us here on this program this afternoon will understand and appreciate the reason why this program was labeled as a conversation about the journey and the accomplishments of our musical cultural ambassadors. You are doing human service to fly our flag out there, to lift, as the old people used to say, to lift the nose out there in the regional and international arena. You have done Grenada proud, and I expect you to continue to do so as we go forward. I look forward to us working together to have this youth training element going forward. We'll be talking more about that. And that's where we bring a close on the program for this afternoon. Thank you to those joining us. Come in, no problem. Yes, one more thing.
One more thing. I would like to invite all the other guests to try to get that book from NACA. And I want to make a promise to that if you can reach out to NACA so I could get that book for me.
Okay.
You know, so
the book is available on Amazon, you know.
The Amazon?
The book is available on Amazon, yeah. It's available on Amazon.
Yo, please let me interject. Mr. Naka, hey, for all you guys who want to know that too, get in touch with Naka because he's doing a book. The next book he's doing is about the music from Guam.
Right.
He already contacted me, but me so have my pride, me don't know how to write about myself. So I Cecil Peters again, tell me, just dictate and him go write. So I know I seen Naka out on a little earlier, so that's what we call that.
He's always there. He's a regular guest to Jennifer. Not just for this program, but to Jennifer.
He had contacted me too. He contacted me.
Yes. Serious. We have to get to him. You know, that's why in a way I don't tell Raphael from last night we were on. I say, make sure Naka listening, you know, because me can't write about myself. So if he better start take notes.
The thing about it is, your stories have been told here. So it's just a matter of you return to the recording and you have everything.
Yeah.
That's everything, Rick.
Yeah, you have the foundation.
Yes, yes.
You have the foundation.
Yeah, man, me love what Naka doing.
Mention that yet. Nice.
Me love that. Me love that Naka doing that. You know what I'm saying? You know, bringing up the culture of Guam from sports to the music because, hey, St. John's, power come from, not St. John's. What the parish of St. John's? I just last night, one of them youth here come in the ears. Just probably right after I hung up with you, because I'm in the studio, Steve's son. And you know what song he was playing? He said, you never heard a song. Saltfish. Yo, the little kids was playing. So, you see where we come from? That's a Grenadian product. That's a St. John's product. You understand where we come from? Yes. And that's how, you know, everything is in time, you know what I'm saying? Everything is in divine order. Sometimes you try to do things and figure, you're not working, nothing. Once you meditate on it, it happens. Like I say the age of Aquarius means everything come into fruition. You know what I'm saying? All what you think used to take long could happen right now.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to, you know what I'm saying? Keep your mind right. Stay focused, do your affirmation, do this thing, pray, because it's serious times, and we are in the age of Aquarius where our bodies and our mind is going to be enlightened unless you don't want it to happen. That's up to you.
Pablo.
Yes, sir.
One thing, I just wanted to say thanks to Bagga, Mr. Dabreo, and Mr. Callis.
Yes.
I didn't do much of him, but I didn't do much of him at all. But I saw him on some of your programs.
Right.
Actually, all the programs I've seen.
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
I didn't do much of him.
He's the man that's making this thing happen. He's the man that owns and manages and operates this. That's his platform.
So we just want to tell him thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I like all my friends in Guelph to know that I always thinking of them. And whatever I do in Trinidad, they know I'm Grenadian.
Right.
And I always tell them I'm from Guelph, I'm
And then
Grenadian.
you Guavarian.
Whatever.
Hey, listen.
Number one, at the forefront in everything that I do. That's
Right.
when we started, and I always look forward to pray. Even though some of my posts, it's always,
Right.
that's
Yeah. They refer to Guam as the Republic of Guam.
You Republic.
Yeah, Guam is a republic, the Republic of Guam.
Yes. Yeah, man. Me in that Mr. President.
Yeah, I tell you about it.
Excellent.
Yeah, man.
Thanks
Yeah,
again.
man, it was all good, man. Yeah? So that's our wrap for this afternoon. Once again, thank you to our audience. Brother John?
Yes, sir. Well, you know what? I want to thank you guys so much. I've been hearing about Bagga from Cecil. Cecil is very good friends out here in Toronto.
Yep.
Yes, he and I is good. Bagga, I heard a lot about you. I know a lot of your stories. A little bit of the Hopeville thing, 'cause I've been in the security business, so I know about that a little bit. But a little bit about that as well. I've been there. I've been a student security officer, counter-intelligence officer, so I know a little bit about that. However, I want to thank you guys because even Sugar Boy, I emceed a show for Sugar Boy up in the hills, in somebody's house. They like a show with a veranda, and I emceed a show there for Sugar Boy a couple years ago, many years ago, 1985, I think it was, Sugar Boy. Right? And I got I had a little inclination with like a thing vibes with Elite Vibration. Right? I think somebody says some Elite Vibration, jamming, everybody doing stuff.
Right. And Sneaky Boy really nice.
Okay.
Vibration I brought it down.
All right, that is something.
I was there.
Right, and who done the couple back with the guy, right? So
Right, it's Survivor.
Survivor. So I have another thing. But let me say one thing. I mean, my grandparents, great grandparents, somewhere in Guelph, you know. So all was in the Guelph thing. So in the Guelph in Grenville, so there's area. I have my grandparents. People should know Granway well. And going to St. George's side after you cross over the bridge. That falls house there in Granway and the side that's my granduncle. Kiefer and them.
Okay.
Brooklyn, that's my family right there. I have some people live with Mount Pleasant and the hill up there too as well. So I'm connected to go out one way or the other. So I want to say thank you guys for being here with Pablo and myself. I want to thank again Pablo for doing a wonderful show today. It's one of the greatest show so far. Again, every day is a greater show and getting better, you know. And to pull all these great musicians together, I'm really, 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 really excited about that. And the impromptu session that you guys had there, that part is recorded too. So, yeah. So yes, so it is good, and I hope that all the listeners, I want to thank you guys for listening, and also to share it. Don't be afraid to share it with your friends, because this is something, despite those people, a lot of people can go off on this thing. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't keep that secret to yourself. Send it out to everybody. Just share, and it will come back to you, because Guelph is what it is. That's the Republic of Guelph is here. And we're going to do it. We'll vote back for president. And I hope you talk to the Prime Minister in Paris. All right. So thank you again, man. One love, one heart, one destiny.
Can I do a little dog going out?
Sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, do one away out first.
All right.
Doubles out of here.
Hey, that's mistake harmonica here, so.
All right. Yes, man.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
All right. All the best. Blessings.
All of